A very good morning, students. Today, let me continue with that class amphibia, and the title of today's topic is Origin of Tetrapod Limbs. You know, tetrapods are the animals or the vertebrates which have two pairs of limbs in their body. And prior to the origin of these amphibians, these amphibians have evolved from fishes, wherein fishes are purely aquatic animals, and these amphibians are the first group of vertebrate animals which have come out of the water and started living as terrestrial animals, that is on the land. And it is a big question that how these amphibians could develop these limbs which have been modified from the fins. So there were several debates over this issue. However, by means of considering the scientific evidences or some genuine reasons, we come across with some theories, and let me go through some of such informations about origin of tetrapod limbs today. More than 3 centuries ago, natural philosophers and later anatomists recognized a fundamental organization of the skeleton of tetrapod limbs. Basically, they consist of three segments, that is stylopod, zygopod, and arthropod. Stylopod corresponds to the upper arm and legs of the humans. Zygopod corresponds to the forearm and lower leg, and arthropod correspond to the hand and foot. So these are the three basic segments that are there in those tetrapodon animals in the beginning. The limbs are paired along the anterior posterior axis and always seem to develop at the same locations on the anterior and posterior axis of the body. The paired fins of fishes were first used as props and supports for resting on the bottom. They were later used in clumsy walking manner, and this behavior forced them in water, because the weak props could not support the animal without buoyancy, that is, to maintain equilibrium in the water. Increased perfection of the mechanics of walking took place in the shallow waters at its beginning, and the land was also attractive haven and a source of food for them, and the first vertebrate invaders of land probably had fins, and these became legs by the enlargement of the fin base and the loss of fin rays. So there were some modifications in the fins itself, so that the fins have been transformed into limbs. These original limbs and girdles were very weak and probably underwent considerable period of evolution in swamps. Later, they were perfected by further selection when it became necessary for early amphibians to move across dry land because of drying of water bodies. Berry said that those fish pioneers with air bladders and paired fins, which after years of using their fins for pushing and paddling themselves over mud flats, gradually ventured onto drier grounds. So initially they were moving on the muddy part or the muddy flat regions on the terrestrial medium, and gradually they started moving onto drier grounds, where they avoided the competition of food and the dangers of the waters, were the ancestors of such amphibians. So this was a popular statement given by Berry. The transformation from fins to limbs is another subject that has been long debated. The earliest fossils of tetrapods, that is amphibians, are known as Labyrinthodontia because of the folded nature of the dentine of their teeth. They probably originated about 300 million years ago during Devonian period and flourished through Carboniferous and Permian periods before extinction in Triassic period of Mesozoic era. Coming to Crossopterygian ancestry. Origin of tetrapods or amphibians can be traced back to the freshwater carnivorous Rhipidestian Crossopterygians of the Devonian period, and they are represented by Osteolepis and Eusthenopteron. They show more morphological similarities with the amphibians or labyrinthodonts, which are the evidences of their close phylogenetic relationship. The pentadactyl limbs of the amphibians are supposed to have arisen from the Crossopterygian fin lobes. You will observe this feature in the later slide of this PPT. There are clear homologies between the limb bones of the osteolepid, Crossopterygians, and early tetrapods. Coming to a stage called Ichthyostega. It is a primitive labyrinthodont fossil found in Greenland which had both Crossopterygian and amphibian characters and represents a transitional stage. So Ichthyostega is a type of animal which is said to be a labyrinthodont type, and it could be the connection between or the interlink between Crossopterygian and amphibians. According to some scientists, Devonian was a period of seasonal droughts. Certain Rhipidestian Crossopterygians had sufficiently developed lobe fins to move on land and land to ponds containing water. Periodic escapes resulted in conversion of their lobe fins to pentadactyl limbs. Another group of scientists believed that Devonian land had more oxygen in air, food, cover shelter, breeding places, and land had less impurities and predators. For all these reasons, it was believed that by one group of scientists, the fishes were very much attracted by these features of the terrestrial medium, like more oxygen, more food, good cover shelter facilities, and good breeding places, and less impurities and predators. It is believed that those fishes have migrated to terrestrial medium. So due to these reasons, ancestral tetrapods had moved from water to land, during which their fin lobes are transformed to tetrapod limbs. However, the transition from water to land was gradual. Now, this will be a pictorial representation of the features which were attracted for these fishes to move on to the land. So as you see here, life on the land would require adapting to increased oxygen content, that is, the air hold more oxygen than water. Second one, decreased fluid density. Air is less dense than water. Third one, less stable temperatures, and the temperature regulation is required here. Okay, and greater habitat diversity. In a terrestrial medium, there is a great deal of diversity with reference to habitat. As you see, in the terrestrial medium, in some part of the earth it is too cold, in some part it is too hot, and in some places dense forests will be there, in some places green lands will be there, or the desert will be there. So likewise, there are a lot of such variations with reference to habitat is seen in the terrestrial medium, but in aquatic system that situation is generally not seen. And in the terrestrial medium, the aquatic system was much more homogeneous, whereas in the terrestrial medium it is said to be heterogeneous. It is because of the diversity in terms of habitat. So this is a photograph of that Ichthyostega, a transitional stage between labyrinthodonts and amphibians. You can clearly make out the development of limbs here, the fleshy limbs and the massive limbs, but they are very short with well developed digits over there. And it is not necessary to suppose that the first vertebrate to walk on land was an amphibian. More than likely it was a fish, still with fin supports. And the first land vertebrate had fin bones homologous with those of the modern tetrapod limbs. And these fins would have become tetrapod limbs by losing their fin rays and by increasing the size of the fleshy base of the fins, so that the original land invading fish became a sort of amphibiopycin, later pisceoamphibian, and then finally into true amphibian. So there is a gradual changes in the fin structure and its other features. The transformation of pectoral and pelvic fins to become tetrapod limbs is essentially alike, except for the different angles of the knee and elbow. Little torsion and no inversion occurred in either. So these are some of the basic informations about the concept that how the tetrapod limbs have evolved in case of amphibians. So in the later slides, as you see here, it's very evident or clear that fishes, by means of gradual process of evolution, especially their fin parts, have modified into the limbs. That's what you can make out in this slide. And here you see the slide here, which shows the different bones of the forelimbs, wherein the humerus, radius, ulna, and the digits. Okay, and these digits are having so many such bones over there in the true tetrapodon amphibians, but on the left side you see there were the presence of fin rays, and those fin rays have been transformed into fingers, or they are modified into fingers in true tetrapods. So this is one of the very clear picture, or the good picture, which will clearly show you that how this fin rays or the fins have modified into limbs, the actual true ones. And here you can make out the evolution of the tetrapod limb here, which is trying to find fingers in fins. So the first one is osteolepiform, the ancient one. Then comes the next one, what is called dipnoid, that is in the dipnoid type of animals or the vertebrates. And you can see here there is a great enlargement of those fin rays or the bones, which finally pave the way for the formation of the true tetrapod limbs, which is there here in the last part of this slide. And here it is a picture which shows you that the evolution of these tetrapods, especially these amphibians, which have been evolved from fish-like ancestors, and those fish-like ancestors have been developed from primitive forms of the vertebrates, what are called as coelacanths, and gradually these amphibians gave rise to the reptiles, which you can see in the later course of the time. So this is all the information for today's class. Dear students, with this I have completed this class Amphibia. From the next class onwards we start discussing about class Reptilia. Thank you.